Hello, welcome to Inspiring Women with ADHD. I am Renee Allen, the host of this podcast, and I'm trying something new by using video. I tried it last time separately from the audio. I only recorded part of it, but so I'm trying it all at the same time. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if I ever want to do it again. But I'm trying it, got to try new things, and I'm here late on a Friday, so I didn't get my Thursday episode out. But that's okay. I'm going to talk to you about accountability. And I know that's not what I said I'd talk about last time, but that's what I'm going to do. So I do have an episode that I'm super excited about. That's about the effect on children when their mom has ADHD. And I'm ready to talk about it, but it will be a longer episode, and I wanted to be able to get this one out today. So I decided to hold that one for next week. But today's episode also needs to be today because I'm going to have an accountability group for March, a free accountability group. And if you want to be in that, I wanted to tell you about it today. And you could go to my website and contact me there or email me. I'll tell you more about that at the end of this episode. But because of that, I thought, well, I'll talk some more about accountability today because it's interesting. Because I know that accountability makes a huge difference on whether I stick to a new goal or not, but it's not always a sure thing. I'm wondering if this has ever happened to you. If you've had a check-in before with a friend, maybe one person or a group where you're working on something, whether it's being consistent with workouts or changing your eating. Maybe you're all doing Whole30 or something like that, whatever it is. It might be getting rid of clutter in your house and you're doing a challenge, and each day you get rid of more things and you show that. And there's a way to report it. There's a way to communicate. Or you just have accountability because you told somebody, I'm going to do this, and you decided to keep your word. All of those things can be super helpful. And for me, I've been really successful with accountability, more so than doing things on my own. But I'm also finding that it's not guaranteed that I'll be accountable just because I say I'm going to do something or because I sign up to do something. And I know that in having my website and having accountability groups or a challenge, there's a good chance that a lot of people who sign up for it won't stick to it. They won't be consistent because of the challenges that we have with ADHD. You might forget that you were doing it. You might just feel behind. And so I wanted to talk about some of those reasons why we might not do as well with accountability, even though it is possible to do well, but what some of those challenges can be. And maybe you can relate to some of these. One is with executive dysfunction. We don't always remember what we've told someone we were going to do, what we even thought of doing, what we signed up to do. Have you ever signed up for something and forgotten about it, or signed up for a class and you show up on the wrong day or the wrong time? With executive dysfunction, information that you have, whether it comes from you or for someone else, it doesn't always go into your brain, into a place where you will remember it. So you might not be able to even remember you made a commitment. You also may not do as well with tracking, with every day, I'm going to go on this app and I'm going to check off this box and I'm going to write when I start my intermittent fasting and when I end. Once you get into that, you might be doing it more regularly because it's a habit, because your brain has learned to remember. But until then, you might need some help doing that. You might need an alarm set on your phone or a Post-it note or something on your calendar, wherever it is that you're going to look, to help you. It's also difficult with executive dysfunction is to take a task and make it manageable for yourself. You might make it bigger in your mind, or even if it is big, you might not be able to break it into the steps of what you need to do. You might decide that you want to commit to running I don't know, a 5K or something, and not know what to do to get your body ready for that. Maybe a 5K sounds easy to you. It doesn't sound easy to me anymore. I don't like running as much as I used to. But any of those things, if you're not able to make it manageable for yourself, then it might be just not even something that you attempt to do. Another thing is time blindness, which the more I think about what time blindness involves, the more I can relate to. I used to think, oh, I'm pretty aware of time. Not actually, not actually. So many adults with ADHD struggle with time blindness, even children with ADHD. If you have any, probably seen this where you say, okay, we're going to leave in 20 minutes or in 10 minutes, we're going to, whatever. And it hasn't been 10 minutes. Yes, it has. The time goes by so quickly. And if you aren't aware of how long something is taking or how long it will take, it might be harder to manage when you need to work on something, when you've committed to do something. You might be late to whatever appointment you have. That's just normal life. But as far as something that's with accountability, you might even be late to a class that you agreed to meet your friend at. Every Monday, we're going to go to this fitness class together. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if your time frame is messed up, either for leaving on time or even managing to get everything you need together for that, it can get in the way of your goals. Also, just forgetting that you have a deadline until the last minute. It doesn't give you enough time to complete that deadline. Forgetting which day it is, forgetting which week it is. Have you ever done that? I had a lot of relatives come visit, not this weekend, maybe 2 weekends ago, and I've known about it since last fall. I knew it was the first weekend in February. Okay, so that's longer than, because now it's the end of February. So there's my time blindness right now. It was 4 weeks ago. But on a Friday, like right now, I knew that, it's the end of January. I knew that in my mind, but my mind hadn't registered. I hadn't put the information in to make it complete, that meant the first weekend of February, when all of these people, I think every time I count it's a different number, but I'm pretty sure there were 13 people staying in our house. My husband's brother and wife and kids and a few grandchildren. So they came to stay with us, and I had talked to my sister-in-law about it. I had made a lot of plans, but on that Friday, I realized, February 1st tomorrow. That means that's the first weekend in February. That means everyone's coming tomorrow. That means you need to have enough food in the house. That means you need to get bedding ready. You need to get rooms ready, all of that. And I was not estimating that deadline at all in my logical brain of what I need to do today. I was on a vast calendar somewhere out in the future, but right when it came to it, I couldn't. So also just forgetting instructions back to a challenge. Let's say your challenge is to learn how to, and I apologize if you can't relate to any of these, but these are challenges that I've done before. I'm going to do 100 push-ups a day. Well, I can't even do, this is toe push-ups. I can't even do 10 on my toes. I don't even know if I can do 5 right now. I might be able to. Now I'm on camera. I could actually show you if I could or not. But I don't know if I could, because I've always had weaker arms compared to the rest of my body weight. So I did a challenge once to do 100 push-ups a day. And I was able to divide those up as, do 10 in the morning, 5 here, but I would tally them up. And by the end, I don't know that I could do 100 at a time, but I could do at least 40 at a time, maybe 50 at a time, which was amazing. I developed that strength. But I've had some challenges before, or some goals that I've decided, like, I'm going to be a part of this. Yeah, I'm going to do that. And I don't really understand what's involved. I haven't looked at the fine details. And then once it starts, I realize, oh, I'm a little behind here, because I wasn't aware it started right now. Wasn't aware we were going to have a check-in at this time. I wasn't aware. And I'm already behind because I didn't make sense of the time involved. Also, just feeling like your future person is capable of more than your now person is. Have you ever done that, where you think, I can totally do that in January. December's so busy with the holidays, but after New Year's, oh yeah, I've got all the time in the world. And then January comes and you don't have all the time in the world. You don't have all the time in the world. Life isn't as simple as you once thought. So it's just thinking that your future self could handle things, and maybe you commit to too much. I think that's why a lot of people don't do well with their New Year's resolutions, is because they set the goals so high and they think they're capable. I think I'm capable. And the actual capability of my present self isn't able to match what the ideal situation is. Another thing is emotional dysregulation. I don't know if you remember me talking about this that week that I talked about RSD, rejection sensitivity. Wait, I always do it wrong. Rejection sensitive dysphoria. There's no sensitivity. I always want to say it that way. Rejection sensitive dysphoria. So with maybe it is. Okay, it is sensitivity. Okay, I have to look it up really fast because there's my brain not working. As I finally get it, no, it is rejection sensitive dysphoria. Okay, I was questioning myself. I had written it down wrong again. But RSD is a form of emotional dysregulation where our bodies are designed to have emotions, and ideally, we're able to reel those emotions in to some degree, especially in public, but to some degree that we can manage them. And when you have rejection sensitive dysphoria, the emotions just flood. Just think of a flood. If it rains a little bit and the rain goes into the earth was able to absorb how much rain came. If it rains so hard for so many hours and then it's flooding, the earth wasn't able to maintain the amount of water that came in, wasn't able to support that. And that's what happens with that emotional dysregulation, is we can't manage the amount of emotions that come. So the RSD can make you, if you have that aspect, a condition that often happens with women with ADHD, but anyone with ADHD. But if you have that and you have that sense of people rejecting you, even though it's not happening, or have a deeper sense of it, if it is happening a little bit, you feel it deeper, you may be in a situation with accountability. You're in a group of people and you see people doing really well, and maybe you're not doing very well, or you're coming in on a Tuesday and it started on a Monday, and they're saying, oh, good, we're glad you're here. Just jump in. You're fine. Start today, even, if you didn't start yesterday. But your RSD is causing you to feel like, I'm a loser from the beginning. What I'm saying isn't important. I'm not doing as well in this challenge. Or if it's an accountability thing and you're working with somebody one-on-one. I participated in 2 different accountability groups or situations in January and February, and some of them overlapped. And actually a third one that I kind of forgot about. It's a 3-month one. I'm in the 3rd month. I still haven't really participated. But yeah, that could be another sign, is that, we have an appetite for more than what we can do. And I keep forgetting I'm in this other challenge. But what I found was in one of the challenges, I had someone check in with me every Monday by email and say, what's your goal for this week? And how did you do? How do you feel like you did last week? What's your goal for this week? I'll check in with you again on Friday and see how you did. And at first it was like, oh yeah, I'll just tell her my goal. And I felt really good about it. And I would remember it part of the time. And at the end of the week, I'd think, oh yeah, I didn't do as well as I had. And one thing that really helped was when I admitted to it, all the things that I didn't do and why. She said, it always takes us longer to do what we set out to do. And that's fine. You made progress. Felt really good. But my worriedness of, I'm going to just feel like such a loser reporting this, that I didn't do much, was getting in the way of me wanting to stay in it and reply. It was also getting in the way of me coming back the next week and setting a new goal, because then I start to question myself. Like I wasn't, the decision-making problem, the emotions were getting in the way. You already have problems making decisions often, if that's part of your ADHD, you have problems making decisions. And then you add in a fear that someone's going to think something about the decision you're making, the goal that you've set for yourself. If it's an exercise goal, and everyone else is preparing for these marathons or taking these really advanced classes, and your goal is to go for a walk 4 times a week, and you're starting to feel like, maybe I shouldn't tell them that's my goal. Maybe I need to have a more lofty goal, one that sounds better. And, it's just a fear of criticism or failure, even though they might not criticize you. You might think they have critical thoughts about you. And so it can just lead to avoidance of participating anymore, or just get in the way of the process of being accountable. And then just your own fear or your own insecurities of questioning yourself in what your goal is. And maybe you don't do any of this, but I do. Yeah. And the whole point, I think what's important to think of, especially with the emotional piece, is that we're doing this, we're in a challenge, we're in an accountability group to support each other and to feel lifted up, to feel connected so that we can do something, to feel accountable so that we can get something done. And if the group aspect or the reporting aspect is getting in your head too much, trying to get out of that and just do what it is you want to do here, what you want to accomplish. Don't worry about the rest. Use the group as a tool. And if there's any bonuses like connection, community, this feels great, I'm so glad we did so great, I made new friends, that is fantastic. But the tool, the piece that this group is, when I say a tool, it's like it's what's helping you reach your goal, then use it in a way that's helpful. And anything that gets in the way that doesn't feel helpful, just let go of that. Just let go of that and just tell yourself that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It might be easier for some than for others. But yeah, it was just interesting because this other accountability group that I was in, and like I said, I was in quite, more than I should have been at the same time. But the FOMO, if you have the FOMO aspect and you find out about something, you don't want to not be a part of it. So that's why I did. But the other accountability group wasn't as much for people doing exactly what I'm doing. The goal, each person was just having their own goals, and we report the goal to the person who is running the group, and stay in touch through text or WhatsApp or email, any of those methods. And then on Fridays, you could have a video chat with anybody who showed up. And I showed up to all of them. I was able to, not always on time because I was just getting out of another class. But I found it became stressful where I was thinking, like I was feeling the pressure, like, why did I sign up for this? Now I have to work on it. Do you ever do that? You feel boxed in, like, why did I set this goal? I don't have the freedom to do what I want now. Now I need to work on this. But the whole point of doing it was that I did want to work on it, and I did make progress. So sometimes we can just be our own antagonist in getting in the way of our goals by, questioning it, feeling trapped, feeling like you have to do something that you don't want to do. You always have a choice to do what you want to do, but look at your goal and see, do I want to work toward the goal today or do I not? And see if it's useful for you to continue with that accountability. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing is when we have ADHD, we often struggle with motivation. That's that low dopamine. Whether you're taking medication or not, you're probably not on medication 24/7 where it's always helping you. So that motivation level is, I'm on camera now, so I can show you this if you're watching on YouTube. But my son explained it to me like this. When I was diagnosed, he had been diagnosed with ADHD probably a year before, and he was a freshman in college. And he told me that the way stimulants help is here's the level of most people of motivation. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. And I don't feel like doing it right now, but I should, or I need to, or whatever. And what they do is they go from that level to here. They go and they're there. They do it. It takes a little bit of a leap, but they're able to leap and get there, and they're there. But when you have ADHD, so here's the level where you want to get to start doing something, to be motivated. And when you have the ADHD, you're down here. So your dopamine levels are lower, and you're going, yeah, I have a deadline. And then you go back down, or I'll eat some sugar, or whatever it is. Like, I paid money for this class at college. You're trying to do these things to get yourself to do it, and you can't get yourself to do it. And you might find a breakthrough somehow, or find something enjoyable. All those things in the Atomic Habit book, find something pleasurable about it. Or for me, I look for the fun aspects. Start with the fun part. Get out a notebook that you like with a pen that you like. Make it fun to begin with. Do things that make it a pleasurable experience. But you still may struggle with going, you're just not even here where the people normally are. So when your dopamine levels come up with the medication or something else, you're exercising regularly or whatever it is that's helping that, then you just have to make that little leap. And my son told me that's what put in your earbuds and silence out the world and listen to a podcast or an audiobook or a TV show with your phone in your pocket every once in a while looking at it. That was a stimulant too. It brought me to a normal level, and I could function. I could get things done that I couldn't otherwise. And when motivation is a problem on your own, having an accountability group, somebody to be accountable to, isn't just a responsibility, like an obligation, but it's also getting external sources of motivation. So even though you could feel kind of this weighing in of the people in that group that you may or may not know, you might feel a pressure or you might feel lifted up. And if you think of, okay, they can lift me up, they can help me with this, they can help motivate me, they can cheer me on, then it's easier to get started. You have that drive, that ability to do it. And there's a lot of things that could get in the way for sure. And especially if you have experiences of trying before and not succeeding, and you've got the ER view of it'll never work. It can work with a new approach or new support or having a friend. I find that when I have a real life person that I'm going to meet somewhere, I'm much more likely to do that thing, like go on the walk or meet for a class or whatever. Because if no one else is depending on me, I can think of a lot of reasons to change my mind, or that decision-making piece for me I can come up with so many other things that I could be doing at the same time, and then the decision to make that isn't as clear. But if somebody's going to be there, my decision's clear. I've told them I'm going to be there, and I'll do it. And body doubling, I've talked about that before. You probably heard of it. I just think it's the weirdest term, but but it's just working alongside someone else, having somebody come over and do something with you. You want to start a garden, and having them there with you is just super helpful. You have that time deadline. You got to do it now because they're here now, and it's just more pleasant, more pleasurable, and they can help you with it. But yeah, an accountability group. So what I'm thinking, and who knows, like I told you before, I was going to do a different episode today, actually yesterday, and I didn't. So I could change my mind next month, but I won't change my mind in March. So in March, I'm going to have an accountability group, and I might continue with them. I'll just see how it goes. I'm just looking to see. I sent out an email to my newsletter group inviting people to join and inviting them to choose which they would like to work on, either for the month of March, either showing up on time, never being late, because I have been sliding in that one lately. And the other one is exercising consistently. Whether that means every other day for you, every day, all but one, whatever. And it looks like the consensus is to have it be about exercise. So that's what I'm going to have for March, which is tomorrow. If you'd like to join, although I'm not going to start on March 1st, I'm going to start on a Monday because I love to start on a Monday. So if you want to be a part of that accountability group and be in our little group to report what your goals are for March of exercising regularly, any kind of healthy movement. It doesn't have to be a workout. My dad is a cattle rancher. I mean, he's not now, but that would be his dream. He lived on a cattle ranch when he was a teenager. And so he's a cowboy, I guess. That's what I'm going to say. That would be his ideal thing. Now he's in his 80s. But is he 86? I think. But anyway, so he never sees the point, my husband doesn't either, to go in a gym and work out when you could actually be doing something without movement. You might be out doing yard work in a physical way. That could be your exercise. But you could determine what your goal is, how many days a week you want to do it, and what your time is. And it doesn't have to be anything that you feel is impressive to anyone else. It could just be what you need it to be, and you don't even need to tell everyone else what it is. But if you're interested in doing that, if you have a pen, you could write it down. My email is Renee, Renee, at inspiringwomenadhd.com. You could email me there and tell me you'd like to join it, or go to my website, renee-allen.com, go to the About page. I think there's a contact form, or just sign up for any of my free offerings. It'll get you in an email. And then you'll have my email address, and you can just email me and let me know. But let me know if you'd like to be a part of it. I'm going to leave it up to you how you'd like to communicate with me on it, if you'd like to do that by email, or if you'd like to be in a WhatsApp group, because WhatsApp is an easy way for everyone to be in the same group and have conversations. I'm doing this stuff with my hands, and I just thought, why are you doing this? No one can see, but then I realized, oh yeah, you're on camera. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you heard me talking last time. I tried video, and hopefully this is recording right, because I've never tried the sound with this format before, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I took a 30-minute little course workshop on video podcasting, moving to video podcasting. And they said, don't move very much. And I thought, that's a problem. I move a lot. Don't move your hands. That's a problem. At first, this was kind of in the way. So hopefully it's back and forth. I don't know how sensitive this is with this program as it is with GarageBand. But anyway, I'm going to move around. And if you're like me and you have ADHD, when you're watching a podcast, you don't look at it that much anyway. You're doing other things. So I have to move my body. Yeah. So thank you for listening. This is a shorter one. I still don't know how to add music on here, but I'll try to make it sound like my other ones. I see a little flashing, so I don't know if that means I need an Ethernet cable if my Wi-Fi isn't enough. But if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you're just going to get it on audio. And I think I can save the audio separately. And the video will be a mystery. But thank you so much for being here. Again, if you want to join my March accountability group, even if you don't listen to this before Monday, you can hop in anytime. It's not a black and white, I'm starting on March 1st and I'm going all the way to March 30th, or I'm starting on the first Monday and I'm going to do. Whenever you can join in, that's when you can set your goal. And that's when it can help you. And I forgot to say, this is so funny, because the forgetfulness of ADHD. Oh my goodness. And it's so crazy how our brains work, because I remember to tell you this on the podcast every single night. And I haven't remembered in all these times. And this is all month long of February. So on January 30th, and I know it was this day because I looked it up last night. So on January 30th, I was recording a podcast about the things that we dread, the things that we make, like making a mountain out of a molehill, that we make so much bigger than actually are. And how they're just so huge and we think I can't do that. One of those for me is washing my face at night. Another one's flossing my teeth. The washing the face, I've broken into easily 50 steps, but I've probably, if I can always add more of what it seems like I have to do in my mind, and it sounds like too much. But anyway, as I was talking on the podcast, I just decided on the spot, and I thought, who knows if I'll even remember to do this, because sometimes I say, oh, and I'll do this, and then I forget about it. And it's not because I'm being dishonest, it's just because I forget. and I probably will remember later. But I was talking and I said, I have a spin brush from, the electric spin brush, Oral-B or something. And that I'd asked my dental hygienist what's the most important thing to do, like to have good teeth health, gum health. It's hard for me to floss. Is using a spin brush, my husband said that's really important. And we bought some a couple years ago, maybe 5 years ago. He's used his, replaced the heads over and over. I'd used mine a handful of times and just thought, this is taking forever. And it kind of cuts up my gums, even though I got this soft brush and I don't like it. So I hardly ever use mine. I thought, it takes too long. I'm just going to use my toothbrush. And I wasn't using it. So I asked her, should I use that? And she goes, yeah, use that. Also use the water pick. And I thought, because I'd bought my son a water pick years ago when the dentist said that would help him. And I think I tried it once and I didn't like it that much. But I thought, okay. So I bought one that was, didn't have to plug in. It's battery operated, or maybe you recharge it or something with the USB. But I bought both of those. I bought new heads for the spin brush, start anew, and tried them both once or twice, and they just sat there. But talking on the podcast that day on January 30th, I thought, I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to see if I can do something that I dread and that I built up so much by challenging myself, by being accountable to you and saying, I'm going to do it for 30 nights. 30 nights before I go to bed, I'm going to use the spin brush and I'm going to use the water pick. And I was kind of counting in my brain, okay, 2 more days of January, there's probably 28 days of February, that makes 30 days. And today's February 28th. I still have 1 night to go, but I can tell you I've done it every single night. And it wasn't easy at first. I learned a lot along the way. One thing that I learned is that I continued to have the dread. I'd go into the bathroom, I'd look at that. Thankfully, I remembered that I'd made that goal. And I looked at that spin brush and I thought, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I had total dread, but I thought, you do that. You said you were going to do it, do it. So I made myself do it. I didn't enjoy it, but I did it. And then when it got to the water pick, I thought, because I tried it before and it would, I didn't really know how to use it. The water's going all over the place. And I thought you're supposed to use like boiled water or distilled water or, something. And I just decided I'm not doing that. I'm just using water. We have well water. It's pretty good. I'm just going to use water from the tap. I'll clean it out every once in a while, but I'm not going to let that get in the way of my goal. So every night, I didn't realize, okay, I'm putting a thumbs up and now it's doing a thumbs up bubble on the screen. Sorry about that. I don't know why it does that. I did something last time and it did a thumbs down and I thought maybe I said a word that it didn't like. Computers are so strange. But anyway, back to that. Okay, so what was interesting was at some point I started enjoying the spin brush part and my hand knew how to control it better. So before I was like, I don't know, it was like I was driving a go-kart and it was going too fast and it was like all over the place. And so I didn't have control of it in my mouth and especially inside of my teeth. But the more I did it, the more I gained control in my hand and the more I understood how to use it and to coordinate. I had more of that motor control. And the more I knew how to like work around and not hurt my gums. With the water pick, it took a little longer. I'm still getting better at it, but I actually like using it too. And what's interesting is I think the water pick doesn't even take a whole minute when I have it on the fast setting. It goes by so fast. And I used to think it was taking forever. I used to think, don't do that. It'll take forever. You just want to go to bed. And so I had fake stories in my mind of what was happening that weren't even true. That's why they were fake stories. I guess I'm redundant here. But yeah, I got better at it. At the beginning, it was a mess. The water was like on the mirror. One time it shot up my nose. I thought it probably like burned a hole in my sinus or something. It was awful, but it worked. It worked. So yeah, it worked. And 30 days into it, I don't desire to not do it anymore. I don't desire to use my regular toothbrush instead. I like using them both, and I developed that habit, and I'm really happy about it. It just taught me a lot about accountability, that it's super helpful to commit to doing something if you can remember. And if you can't, give yourself the tools, write it on a calendar, write whatever. But I had a memory that I was going to go brush my teeth every night, and I could see both the water pick and the spin brush on the counter. So those were visible to me, and that's probably why I remembered that I said it to you. But every night when I went in there to do it, after about a week, I thought, oh, I have to let you know, like, I'm actually getting better at this, or I've got to let you know I'm actually, but I always forgot, of course, once I got in here. But anyway, so that's one of my motivating factors, to have an accountability group so that you can commit to it, whether you're in touch with me once a week about it, or just share sporadically, or just start at the beginning and tell me at the end, or you join a group of people and talk about it together. It might not be a very big group, or you might want to do it one-on-one, kind of stay incognito. That's fine. But let me know if you want to be a part of it. But thanks so much for being here. I will be back next week, hopefully twice, hopefully on video. We'll see how this goes. I hope it works. But thanks so much. Bye.
The silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me. I buttered my toast, spread on some grape jelly. I don't mean to boast, but I'm a chef and a good one. My grandma can't hear me. That breakfast is done, and I'm getting colder, ever older, so I run. Open windows, broken shadows. Frozen dreams are left for tomorrow. Without a cause, no time for a pause. Rewind, I've run out of time to sing melodies and harmonies. I'm cut short. The silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me.